are moments in life when everything feels like it's falling apart. You sit alone in your room, staring at the ceiling, wondering, why me? You gave your best. You cried. You did everything right, yet somehow life still hit you hard. People left you. Doors closed. Plans failed. And your heart whispers, where is Allah in all of this? But my dear brothers and sisters, listen carefully. The silence of Allah is not His absence. The delay is not His denial. The test you're in right now is not a punishment. It's an invitation. An invitation to return to the one who has always been with you, even when the world walked away. Sometimes, Allah allows you to be broken, not to destroy you, but to rebuild you. Because when everything you relied on is taken away, you finally realize the only one you ever needed was Allah. That's when your heart truly begins to taste faith. Not when life is easy, but when you're crying in sujood saying, Allah, I can't do this without you. Remember, every prophet was tested not because Allah hated them, but because Allah loved them. Prophet Yusuf was thrown into a well, separated from his family, betrayed by his own brothers. Yet Allah was with him in the darkness. Prophet Ayub lost his health, his wealth, his children. Yet Allah was with him in his patience. And our beloved Prophet Muhammad faced rejection, loss and pain. But through every tear, every hardship, every battle, Allah was with him. So when life tests you, when your heart breaks and your soul feels heavy, remember this, the test is not the end. It's the bridge that takes you closer to Allah. Don't give up. Don't lose hope. Because the one who brought you into the test is the same one who will bring you out stronger, purer, and closer to Him. When Allah tests you, it's not a sign of His anger. It's a sign of His love. It's difficult to understand this when your heart is heavy, when your eyes are filled with tears, and when your soul feels like it's drowning in pain. But if you pause for a moment and reflect, you'll realize something profound. The fire that you feel burning your heart is not meant to destroy you, it's meant to purify you. Just like gold is placed in intense fire to remove its impurities, Allah puts the believers through tests to polish their hearts, to purify their souls, and to strengthen their faith. The Prophet told us that when Allah loves a person, He tests them. Why? Because through those tests, Allah draws them closer to Him. You see, comfort doesn't always bring closeness to Allah, but difficulty often does. When life is easy, we sometimes forget, we get distracted, we get attached to this world, and we think we're in control. But when Allah tests us, we suddenly remember how weak we are and how powerful He is. We remember how much we need Him. A believer's heart often finds its deepest connection with Allah not in times of happiness, but in times of heartbreak. When everything is stripped away, when the people you counted on disappear, when the plans you built crumble before your eyes, that's when your soul finally whispers, Allah, it's only you. That moment of surrender, that tear of sincerity is worth more than years of heedless comfort. Every test carries within it a message. Sometimes Allah tests you with loss to teach you gratitude for what remains. Sometimes He tests you with rejection to redirect you towards something better. Sometimes He takes something from your life, not to harm you, but to make room for something far greater. What you see as an ending, Allah sees as a beginning. What you feel as pain, Allah sees as purification. That's why the Quran reminds us again and again. Indeed, Allah is with the patient. Allah doesn't say He's watching over them. He says He is with them. That means your tears are seen, your patience is valued, and your pain is not unnoticed. If you could see what Allah sees, the rewards being written for every moment you hold back from complaining, for every time you say, Alhamdulillah, through your tears, for every sujood where you cried silently, you would realize how beloved you are to Him. Tests are not signs of rejection. They are signs of selection. Allah chooses those He loves for greater trials because He wants to raise their ranks, erase their sins, and grant them something far beyond what they could ever imagine. The greater your patience, the greater your reward. The Prophet said that the most severely tested people are the prophets, and then those closest to them in faith. So when pain comes, don't say, why me? Say, Allah, help me. When you face loss, don't say, I can't take it anymore. Say, Allah, give me strength. Because the moment you call upon Him sincerely, you've already begun to heal. Allah never burdens a soul beyond what it can bear. And if you are facing a test, it's because Allah knows you can handle it, even if you don't believe it yourself. The same Lord who tested you is the one who will carry you through it. And one day you'll look back at this test and realize it was never meant to break you. It was meant to make you. You'll thank Allah for every tear you shed because it brought you closer to Him. You'll realize that the test was not a curse, it was a gift in disguise. A gift that purified your heart, strengthened your faith, and showed you that Allah's love is sometimes hidden behind pain. Sometimes in life, you feel completely alone. You look around and realize that the people you thought would always be there have walked away. The ones who promised to understand you now misunderstand you. You try to explain what's going on in your heart, but no one seems to get it. You cry silently, hoping someone will notice your pain. But the world moves on as if nothing happened. In those moments, your heart aches, your mind is filled with questions, and your faith begins to tremble. You wonder, where is everyone? Why does no one care? But the truth is, even when every single person leaves, Allah never leaves. He is closer to you than your own heartbeat. He hears the words you can't say. He sees the tears that never fall. And He knows the battles that no one else can see. You may not realize it, but every time you sit alone, drowning in your thoughts, Allah is there. When your chest tightens with anxiety, He is near. When your heart whispers, I can't do this anymore, His mercy whispers back, you can because I am with you. Allah says in the Quran, and we are closer to Him than His jugular vein. That means you are never truly alone. Even when the room is empty, even when your phone is silent, even when your heart is breaking, the world may turn its back on you, but Allah's presence never fades. He is with you in the silence, in the struggle, in the storm. There's something deeply comforting about knowing that Allah understands even when no one else does. When you can't find words to describe your pain, Allah knows the language of your tears. When your heart is too heavy to speak, your silence reaches His throne. Sometimes you don't even have the strength to make a proper dua. You just sit there, broken, whispering, Allah, and that's enough. Because Allah doesn't look at how perfect your words are. He looks at how sincere your heart is. We live in a world where people only see the surface. They see your smile, not your struggle. They see your calmness, not your chaos. But Allah sees it all. He knows the nights you couldn't sleep because of the weight in your chest. He knows the times you smiled in front of others but cried when you were all alone. He knows the things you never told anyone, the fears you hide, the pain you suppress. And He says to you, do not be sad. Indeed, Allah is with us. Those words were revealed to comfort hearts in fear. And today, they are meant to comfort yours. When you feel like no one is listening, talk to Allah. You don't need fancy words. Just speak from your heart. Tell Him everything. Your pain, your confusion, your fears, your hopes. And then trust Him. Because Allah listens in ways no one else can. Sometimes He doesn't respond immediately because He wants to teach you patience. Sometimes He delays because He wants to give you something better than what you asked for. Sometimes He stays silent because His silence is protecting you from something you don't yet understand. There's a beautiful peace that enters the heart when you truly understand that Allah is always with you. You stop chasing validation. You stop fearing people's opinions. You stop depending on others to make you feel whole. You begin to find peace in prayer, in remembrance, in quiet moments of reflection. You realize that the one who has Allah has everything, and the one who loses Allah has nothing, even if they have the entire world. So the next time you feel alone, don't run to the world. Run to your prayer mat. Don't scroll through your phone looking for comfort. Open the Quran and read His words. Because when you remember Allah, He remembers you. And when you rely on Him completely, He will never let you down. People may walk away, but Allah never does. He was with you yesterday, He is with you today, and He will be with you tomorrow. Through every test, every tear, and every trial, every hardship you face feels endless when you're inside it. The nights seem longer, the pain feels heavier, and the road ahead looks uncertain. You start to wonder if life will ever return to normal, if your heart will ever stop hurting, if the clouds will ever clear. But the truth, my dear brothers and sisters, is that no pain lasts forever. No test continues endlessly. Everything in this life has a time. And just as every storm runs out of rain, every hardship eventually gives way to ease. Allah promises this in the Quran. Indeed, with hardship comes ease. Not after hardship, but with it. Meaning that your relief is already written alongside your pain. When Allah tests you, He doesn't abandon you to suffer alone. He places within the very test the seeds of your relief. You might not see them yet, but they are there, waiting for the right moment to bloom. Think of how the darkest night comes just before the dawn. The pain you feel right now might just be preparing you for the most beautiful chapter of your life. Sometimes Allah has to break you down so that He can rebuild you into someone stronger. Sometimes He takes something away to give you something far greater. What feels like the end of everything might just be the beginning of your transformation. When life hits hard, you must remember that Allah never allows a single moment of suffering to go to waste. Every second of your patience, every tear you shed in silence, every time you choose faith over despair, all of it is being recorded. None of it is forgotten. You might not see the reward today, but you will see it. Maybe in this life, or maybe in the next, where Allah will return every ounce of your pain multiplied with mercy. The Prophet told us that the people who suffered the most in this world will wish they could return and experience hardship again when they see the reward awaiting them in Jannah. Imagine that the pain that once made you cry will one day make you smile in gratitude. It's easy to think that your hardship defines you. You might look at your life and see only what went wrong, the failure, the heartbreak, the loss. But in Allah's plan, nothing is random. What you call a setback might be a setup for something extraordinary. The test you're in today might be the reason you find your purpose tomorrow. Your pain could be the reason someone else finds hope. Allah uses difficulty not to destroy you but to elevate you. The question is not, why me? But what does Allah want me to learn from this? Patience is not about being silent while you suffer. It's about trusting Allah while you suffer. It's about believing that no matter how long the darkness lasts, the light will return. Because it always does. Look at nature. After every winter comes spring. After every drought comes rain. The world around you is full of signs reminding you that change is part of Allah's mercy. He never leaves a believer in hardship forever. One day, you'll look back at the pain you're feeling now and realize that it taught you strength, faith, and resilience you never knew you had. You'll see how it shaped your heart and purified your soul. The patience you showed will become your honor, and the tears you shed will become your reward. So when life feels unbearable, remind yourself, this moment is temporary, but what's waiting for you with Allah is eternal. Keep walking, keep believing, and keep trusting, because soon you'll reach a place where you'll smile and say, it was hard, but Allah never left me, and now I see why it had to happen. When the weight of the world feels too heavy, when your heart is tired, and your mind is filled with thoughts you can't control, there is one place where peace is guaranteed, in sujood. The moment your forehead touches the ground, the moment your heart surrenders to the one who created it, everything changes. That is the moment your soul finally breathes. Because in that position of humility, you're not losing yourself, you're finding yourself. You're not falling down, you're falling into the mercy of the one who never rejects a sincere heart. Sujood is not just a movement in prayer. It's the place where your pain meets Allah's mercy. When life feels overwhelming, people will tell you to take a break, go for a walk, distract yourself. But the believer knows something deeper. The believer knows that true rest doesn't come from escaping the pain, but from placing it before Allah. Sujood is where you pour out the burdens you've been carrying for too long. You don't need to find the perfect words. You don't even need to speak, because Allah understands the language of tears, the whisper of a trembling heart, the silence of a soul that is tired but still believes. Sometimes Allah puts you through pain just to bring you back to sujood. He knows that your heart has been distracted. He knows that you've been distant. And because He loves you, He reminds you through hardship, come back to me. You see, when you're standing tall in life, you might forget who gave you those blessings. But when you're forced to your knees, you remember the one who has always been there. You remember that the same Allah who gave you happiness once can give it again, and even more. Every tear that falls in sujood is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of faith. It's your soul speaking directly to the Creator. It's you saying, Allah, I've tried everything, and now I leave it to you. And that surrender, that moment when you finally stop fighting what you can't control and hand it over to Allah, that's when peace begins. Because peace doesn't come when life is perfect. It comes when your heart is connected to the one who controls life itself. The world tells you to be strong, but sujood teaches you that real strength is in humility. It's in saying, Allah, I can't do this alone. It's in breaking before your Lord so that He can rebuild you. The Prophet found his greatest comfort in sujood. When life got difficult, when the pain was unbearable, when the opposition was strong, he didn't turn to people, he turned to prayer. And Allah raised him, supported him, and strengthened him through that connection. That is the secret. Your greatest power lies in your sujood. So the next time you feel like your world is collapsing, go to the one who holds it together. When you can't explain your feelings to anyone, explain them to the one who already knows. When you feel like you're losing hope, fall into sujood and let your tears carry your pain to the heavens. Because no one who ever cried in front of Allah walked away empty-handed. Maybe not instantly, maybe not in the way you expected, but always in the way that's best for you. The beauty of sujood is that it turns your lowest moments into your highest connection. You may go into sujood with a broken heart, but you rise from it with peace. You may fall to the ground in despair, but you rise in strength. You may enter it with fear, but you rise with faith. That's the power of bowing before the most merciful. It transforms pain into purpose, confusion into clarity, and weakness into trust. So, when everything feels out of control, don't run away. Run to your prayer mat. Because the closer you are to the ground in sujood, the closer you are to the one who controls everything above it. One day, the very pain you're feeling right now will become your greatest strength. The hardship that once broke you will become the story that inspires others. That's how Allah works. He turns your tests into testimonies, your wounds into wisdom, your tears into lessons that change lives. You might not see it now, but one day you will look back and say, if it wasn't for that trial, I wouldn't be who I am today. Allah never wastes your pain. Every hardship has a purpose, every loss has a lesson, and every struggle is shaping you into someone better than you were before. When Allah loves someone, He doesn't give them an easy path. He gives them a meaningful one. The road of ease rarely builds character, but the road of struggle builds strength, patience, and faith. You see, Allah doesn't test you to see you fail. He tests you so you can discover who you truly are. You might think your story is over because of what you've been through, but Allah is still writing it. And the most powerful chapters often begin with pain. The people who shine the brightest are the ones who have been through the darkest nights, yet still kept their faith burning. When you turn to Allah during your tests, something incredible happens. The test that was meant to crush you becomes the reason you rise. The moment you choose patience over despair, hope over fear, and faith over doubt, your heart begins to change. You start to see life differently. You begin to realize that every disappointment was really Allah's protection, that every delay was His timing, and that every loss was a step towards something greater. What you thought was a setback was actually a setup for a new beginning. Think of Yusuf, thrown into a well by his own brothers, sold as a slave, imprisoned for something he didn't do. From the outside, it looked like his life was falling apart. But in reality, it was falling into place. Every hardship he faced was leading him toward the palace, toward leadership, toward greatness. That's the beauty of Allah's plan. It's not always visible in the moment, but when you look back, it all makes sense. So, if you're going through pain right now, don't let it make you bitter. Let it make you better. Don't let it turn you away from Allah. Let it bring you closer to Him. One day, someone will look at your life and find hope in your story. They'll see that you survived what they are struggling with and believe that they can't too. Your endurance today might be the reason someone else doesn't give up tomorrow. That's why you must hold on. Because your story isn't just about you, it's about the hearts that will be healed through you. Allah is using you as an example of how faith can turn pain into power. So instead of asking Allah, why are you testing me? Start saying, Allah, how can I grow through this? Ask Him to make your heart strong, your faith firm, and your tongue grateful. Because if Allah is with you, even your deepest wounds can become the reason you rise higher. He can turn your sorrow into success, your darkness into light, your scars into signs of His mercy. You just have to trust His plan, even when it hurts. And when you finally come out of this storm, and you will, don't forget the lessons you learned in the dark. Use your story to lift others, to remind them that no matter how hard life gets, Allah never leaves His servants empty-handed. You might not have chosen this test, but Allah chose you for it. Because He knew your heart could handle it, and because He wanted to turn your test into a testimony, one that would echo with faith, patience, and victory. My dear brothers and sisters, life will test you again and again, not to destroy you, but to draw you closer to Allah. Every tear, every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer carries a hidden wisdom that only Allah knows. When you go through hardship, remember that it's not the end of your story. It's just a chapter meant to strengthen your soul. The pain you feel today will one day become the reason you smile and say, Alhamdulillah, Allah knew what I didn't. Never let your trials make you forget who controls them. The same Allah who tested you is the same Allah who can remove your pain in a heartbeat. So don't lose hope, don't give up, and don't stop believing. Because even when you can't see it, Allah is working in your favor, guiding you, protecting you, and preparing something beautiful for you. When life tests you, fall into sujood, hold on to your faith, and whisper with convictions, "My Lord is with me, and He will never abandon me." That is the attitude of a true believer, one who sees beyond the pain and trusts in the plan. So, keep walking, even when the path feels dark. Keep believing, even when the answers are delayed. And keep thanking Allah, even when your heart is tired. Because those who stay patient in hardship are promised eternal reward. If this message touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to spread this reminder. Maybe your one share becomes the reason someone rediscovers their faith and remembers that no matter how heavy the test, Allah is always with them.